Hello and welcome to Miss Kasten's virtual art lessons. This week we're going to be talking about lines. Did you watch the lines video I shared on our Bitmoji classroom? If you haven't, please make sure that you do before or after this video. So lines can be straight, horizontal, wavy, zigzag, curly, curved, spiral, or dashed and dotted. Today we're going to be making a line sculpture. If you got your art packet, it should already have all of the materials that you need to make this lesson. To get started, our materials are some square paper, like this, and it can be any color that you have. You could also do this on a piece of cardboard. You may have also gotten a bunch of different colors paper, like a square, or you may have gotten it in strips, like these. What you'll need to do with those papers is cut them into strips like this if they haven't already been cut. If you cannot cut them, ask an adult to cut them, or you can simply tear the paper that you got into strips like that. If you are going to cut them, first of all, make sure that you're holding your scissors properly. This is a pair of scissors. There's a small hole and a larger hole. Your thumb goes through the small hole and your other fingers go through the bottom hole, the larger hole. Not all of your fingers have to go in there, but at least two. Your thumb should be on the top and your other fingers at the bottom. And you cut like that. To cut your paper into strips, just do this motion. And it's okay if it's not perfectly straight. Again, if you are not able to use scissors, you can cut them into strips and use that. So you need your square piece of paper, you need strips of colored paper, scissors if you're going to use them, and a glue stick. You should have received all of these materials in your art packet. Let's get started. We are going to create, not that, we are going to practice drawing lines first. So on a sketch piece of paper, maybe even in your sketchbook that you created on the first week of school, we're going to practice drawing our lines. Can you remember any of those lines? How about a straight line? Can you think of any other lines? My favorite line is a spiral. My second favorite line is a zigzag. There's also wavy lines. curved lines. And dotted lines. For this project, we won't be able to do dotted lines, but we will for another project. So I'm going to get my strips of paper that I cut or ripped, and I'm going to use my drawings in front of me to figure out how to make these lines with strips of paper. First of all, they're already straight lines, okay? But what if I curved my paper like that? Then I have a curved line, but it doesn't stay that way, so I'm gonna have to glue it that way. We'll do that in a minute. Next, I want to create a zigzag line. With my piece of paper, I fold a little bit, and then I fold it the other way, and you can see if I keep doing that, my whole piece of paper can become a zigzag. So if I fold it back and forth until I get to the end, and then I squeeze it, and then I have a zigzag. Now I want to make a spiral. To make a spiral, I take my piece of paper and I can grab a pencil or a pen or a paintbrush, which I happen to have, and start one end and just roll it on there and then let it go. And if we open it up, it's a tight spiral. But if I kind of pull it loose a little bit, it creates a spiral for me. Okay? A wavy line is also a little bit hard to do with paper, but if I just use my fingers, and instead of pinching it like we did with the zigzag, if I just let it go, it stays wavy. I can do a few more of these. One line that I forgot was a curly line, or I like to call it a loopy line. Okay. And to do that with our paper, I simply start by taking both ends and rolling them opposite ways until they start to roll or curl. Like that. All right, so now we need to get our square piece of paper out because we're trying to make a piece of art that looks like this, remember? So I'm gonna get my square back out. I'm gonna go with a different color. Okay, so here's my square. Here are my lines. But how am I going to get these to stick onto my paper? We need to give each strip of paper a foot. So at the end, I'm going to bend the paper to give it a foot on both ends. Giving them a foot. My spiral line is just going to have 1 foot because it's going to stick up off my piece of paper. Foot on both ends. One more. Okay, so all of my lines are ready. Now I'm going to get out my glue stick. Let's go over how to use a glue stick. Inside is the glue. There's a long tube of glue in there, but we don't need all of that sticking out. If we leave it all sticking out, if we try to use it, it might completely fall off and smoosh, and then we'll have wasted a bunch of glue and we'll make a mess. So we only need just a little bit out. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue stick and one of my lines, and on that foot that I just folded, I'm going to put some glue on that end and on that end. And I'm going to take those feet and they're going to stand on my square piece of paper, and I'm going to push it down. And see how it's sticking up? Okay. I'm going to get my other line. Same thing. Put some glue on both feet. And anywhere I want on that piece of paper, I'm going to glue those feet down to the ground. My curved line. Smoosh those feet down. Just a couple more. Here's my spiral, my favorite one. I'm going to put him or her over here. This last one's going to take a little bit more patience. I made a little more work. Okay, because the curls kind of come out of it. So I'm going to curl it back, and now I'm going to smoosh those feet down to the ground, but I can't just let go, it's going to undo. So I need to hold it down for a little bit longer so that it stays. And if I need to, I can put a little bit more glue on there. Twist it. Make sure you're holding the other end. Hold it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there it is. I've got all of my lines glued down. I can look at it from lots of different angles, and it looks different depending on where you look at it from. This is a sculpture. I hope you guys enjoy this lesson. Next week, we're going to talk more about lines, so practice those in your sketchbook. Don't forget, you need to take a picture of your finished work and turn it in on Seesaw. If you've got any extra scraps left over, like I do, don't throw those away. We can use those for something else, another art project. So to keep them safe, put them in a Ziploc baggie or a shoebox or a folder or somewhere else that's going to keep them nice and safe and clean. Okay, so I look forward to seeing your artwork. Bye!